20
Mhm.
plus years of running a matchmaking business and hearing the he said, she said of every date, I've seen yesterday's heartache become tomorrow's
Nice.
love.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Second Act TV. Once again, I'm so happy to welcome back April Beyer, the CEO of Level Connections and a matchmaker for over 20 years, a very successful matchmaker. I mean, you know the ins and outs of putting thousands of people together. April, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. This is always so fun to be with you.
You just recently wrote a blog that got my attention, and that is, are you chasing love away? I think was part of the title, as certainly the way I interpreted it. What did you mean by that, by chasing?
By making love a goal, that's what I meant. When
Okay.
it becomes something that you fixate on and that every bit of your energy is focusing on an outcome, that's chasing love.
Mm-hmm.
It's making it such a huge priority that it's overtaking your life and everything else falls away. So when we're chasing, we're in lack. I mean, think about just the visual of chasing, right? When we're chasing something, it's eluding us, it's running away from us. Why would you want to be chasing something that isn't chasing you, that isn't running towards you?
Yeah, and so many of our viewers can identify with that, especially when you hear it clarified the way that you just did. It is our approach to finding love just putting us in a really bad place in terms of our mindset. So us go over the 3 points that you made here. That you said that when you're in fear, you shut down and you go into a protective space. That chasing something evokes, if I'm interpreting this right, fearful emotions. Is that right?
When you're scared, right? When you're scared of like what happens if this doesn't happen,
Mm-hmm.
okay? You do become, when anytime you're scared, you're going
Mm-hmm.
to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're protecting yourself emotionally, it shows on your face, it shows on
Mm-hmm.
your body, it shows in the way you walk into a room. And people are responding to that, right? They can't even see your love of love. They just see that you're in like complete paralysis because you're
Mm-hmm.
afraid you're not doing it right. You're afraid you're not doing it
Mm-hmm.
too much or often enough or not often enough. So the fear scares that fear in people shuts them down. And I just think it's you can tell when people are doing it. And the
Mm-hmm.
fear is not being able to control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you knew you could control, if you knew that you were just out dating and you were being persistent and you knew that everything would win, right? You would
Mm-hmm.
win in every environment. You would
Mm-hmm.
have no fear if you knew that
Right.
everything was going to work out, right?
Right.
So to me, fear is the opposite of love, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're either walking in your life in fear or you're walking your life in love. There's really not that much variation to how
Mm-hmm.
we approach love.
Yeah.
So that's what the chasing does.
And I look forward to the comments on this because I think
Mm.
people just, I mean, when you just now for me, I mean, I'm not in that place right now, but I certainly have been. And when you think about that, yeah, you are likely self-sabotaging, exactly that what you want. This is interesting too. When you're in a scarcity mindset, you say your brain provides all the reasons why it's never going to happen.
Yeah, the brain's a tricky thing. It's we are humans of emotion, but we're also human beings of logic, right? So if you're in scarcity mindset and people say things like, what if? This is never going to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
what we do is we judge the future on the past and we think, well, I haven't been lucky in love thus far. I haven't chosen well. Every time I've given my heart, I got it stomped on. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just in that scarcity mindset. It's never going to happen. So we
Mm-hmm.
look to people like therapists or people like me in my dating coaching sessions to like, I'm there to remind everybody that everything is possible,
Mm-hmm.
that the scarcity mindset does nothing for
For you.
us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Scarcity mindset just believes that there's nothing happening. And if you
Mm-hmm.
believe in law of attraction, it's just mechanics, right? It's
Right.
it isn't going to win what you want, right? Because you're going to believe that it can't happen.
Mhm.
The reason why I encourage everybody to get into the abundance mindset is
Mhm.
not because I want to be Pollyanna about everything. It's because on a day-to-day basis, 20
Mhm.
plus years of running a matchmaking business and hearing the he said, she said of every day, I've seen yesterday's heartache become tomorrow's
Nice.
love. I've seen people come to me devastated after heartbreak and never choosing well and not
Mhm.
having really anything to look back on and say, I've had great relationships. So they don't
Mhm.
believe it's possible. So then
Mhm.
they can't come to me and when I say, "Oh, it's possible," but they
Yeah.
want to fight me on that because everything in their past is giving them data that proves that it
Mhm.
isn't. So we
Mhm.
have to get into a little bit of our faith. Faith
Mhm.
should not be underestimated. I'm not talking about church. I'm talking about this knowing that it is going to happen for
Mhm.
you. It's just a matter of timing, right?
Yep.
Because if I've had someone not choose well and they've come to me with heartache, and then suddenly I prove to them that it is possible because
Mhm.
now they're dating somebody really wonderful.
Yeah.
They always come back and say, I can't, what? Like, where did this come from? Right.
Mhm.
So all we need is one good experience
Yes.
to eradicate the past, right? To let us forgive our partners, let us forgive ourselves, just that one quick thing. But we can't get to that one positive experience unless we build the faith first. So
Mhm.
if fear is the opposite of love, faith is the opposite of scarcity,
Yeah, I
right?
so
So
agree with you. I have that, well, right there. No, right there.
do you? Where is it? Where
It's
is it?
always,
Oh, okay.
well, always believe something wonderful is about to happen. That little sign, I have that with me all the time. And it's like when you
Mm.
feel down, you just believe it, even when you don't believe it. Just
Well, think
don't
about
give
it.
up.
If yeah, just don't give up. If you think about it, if I walk into, or if I'm single and I walk into a restaurant and
Mhm.
I just saw your sign, believe that
Mhm.
something wonderful is about to happen. What's
Mhm.
going to happen to my face? I'm
Just
going to
you're
do
gonna
like this.
smile. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to be, people are going to want to know me. They're going to want to talk to me. But if I think
Mhm.
that the world is bad and everybody hurts me and I'm going to
Mhm.
walk in like this and no one's going to see me.
Right.
And then the
Right.
data again proves I'm invisible. No one's
Mhm.
looking at me. I'm too old.
Yeah.
I'm too this. And what it really is that you've lost that, which is right behind you. You've lost that feeling of any moment that train could come into the station. Like, it's possible. It changes your entire, you have to light yourself up from within if you want to be seen.
Mhm.
Nobody's going to see you when you're guarded.
Yeah, I read something in here too where you wrote about a clean slate. A friend of mine, when I first left my marriage and then started over again, and her son was starting college. Anyway, long story short, I said, "Gosh, wouldn't that be nice just to be in that place again and start, have a clean slate?" And she looks at me, she goes, "Silka, every day is a clean slate," and that those words have stuck with me. Every day
Mm-hmm.
is a clean slate. And, people will, listen and go, "Oh, yeah, right, for you, blah, blah, blah." Because I do see that in the
Yeah.
comments and I get it. We've been in so many places where we've been hurt, we've lost hope. Just give it, leave a little bit of a possibility that it can happen. And it just might.
Well, those are the people that find love fastest, honestly. There's no, you know, there isn't a certain kind of person that has a lock on love. We're
Mhm.
all capable of it. It doesn't matter where we live, how old we are, what we look like. Love is
Mhm.
possible for everyone, but
Mhm.
it is most possible and most available to people who have the mindset of, I've got more good stuff coming to me. Like,
Yeah.
they get asked out more, they get matched more than other people. Their friends think about them more often,
Yeah.
and it's not. And if you don't feel it organically, then you know what they say: fake it until you make it.
Yes.
Fake the energy for a while till your body catches up
Yes.
to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. You can actually, I've read studies on that. That's really
Mm.
super interesting. Then you say here, when you're in a place of negativity, you aren't happy. Well, that seems kind of obvious, but there's more to it than that. Let's talk about that.
So the negativity, the fear and the negativity, right, about dating. Like, how many times a day do I hear people say, "I hate dating. I hate
Hmm.
the apps. I hate a
Yep.
first date. I hate the first few weeks of having to get to know somebody." Well, guess what? Now you've just colored the entire experience. And if you are in that negative space, you're complaining. So you're going into a date kind of like begrudgingly, like, oh. And what
Hmm.
people do is they find bonding through commiseration.
Mm.
They
Hmm.
find bonding through Well, how's the dating going for you? Well, this loser and this person did that and
Yeah.
this person. And what happens is when you're complaining, you're pushing the right people away.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're unhappy, you're bringing in the wrong partner.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you're in an unhappy like state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that you're an unhappy human being, but you're
Mm-hmm.
in an unhappy negative place in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be really careful who you attract to come over to you from across the room, because that person, whether it's conscious or not,
Mm-hmm.
likes that energy. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they see you as the broken wing or
Mm.
someone that they need to save.
Yep.
But what happens is once you get out of your unhappy
Mm-hmm.
temporary state, you're in the wrong partnership. You're not equally yoked. You're not a good match anymore, because the person you drew in those first 5 minutes was drawn to that energy. They
Yep.
didn't see the real you. They saw
Mm-hmm.
your misery. They saw your upset. They saw your negativity. And for some reason, they
Mm-hmm.
bonded to you through that. So when you get back on your feet again and you're alive and happy, that person will take you
Yeah.
down. They will criticize you. They will hurt you. They won't smile when you're smiling. And then you'll start to see the fabric of your relationship come apart. And that's
Mm.
when people start to go to therapy and they start to go, what's wrong? And we had such great love and we bonded, because you bonded on something that was dark instead of something
Mm.
that was light. So we have to
That's
be really careful
such a great
in the
point.
beginning.
Such a great point. And I know, again, a lot of our viewers will be able to identify with that. And I look forward to hearing the stories. It always helps. I love that in our comments, that when people share, and some share very deeply, it so helps to hear this, just like how you explained it just now, that this happens, to hear from people who actually gone through this, I think is really helpful. So please do that. One final thought here that I want to pose to you. We've talked a lot about not chasing it away, being not giving up hope. It can happen. So my question is, what is the difference between like chasing love and just being persistent? Because we're told persistent pays off. At what point do those two meet or separate?
Well, I don't love either word. I don't like persistence and I don't like chasing. I think persistence is good for your career
Okay.
and perseverance is good for your career. I would like to reframe it and take it from persistence to presence.
Hmm.
Your presence has to remain if you want to finally bring love into your life. Your persistence is one-sided. Your persistence makes you tone deaf. Your persistence makes you miss the red flags. Your persistence makes you overlook things that you should be paying attention to. So the persistence of duty dating, I'm going to go on as many dates as I can. I'm going to get out the door, because someone told me that the more I date, the more persistent I am, I will eventually win. You could, if we look at data and averages, yeah, you'll eventually end up winning.
Mm-hmm.
But will you be enjoying the journey?
Mm.
So the opposite of persistence is also, I'm going to stay home, lock the door, and I'm never, ever going to try, and it would have to be lightning striking me if I found somebody that I could connect with. That's not good either.
Right.
I'm also about, where are we in the middle? If I'm going to be out there, ready to receive love. So instead of saying, I want love, I want to find love, just say, I want to receive love. I am ready to receive it in my life and I'm ready to give love, and it's everywhere around me. So my presence, when I walk into a cafe, when I'm out with friends, I'm never clocking out of being present in a room. That is the most powerful way to receive love in your life. That's when you're noticeable. That's when you're most attractive. The persistence isn't fun. And not a lot of people can sustain that. Intellectually, it sounds like a good idea. Stay in it, stay persistent, but it's exhausting and depleting. And when you're exhausted and depleted, you don't want to do that which is making you tired.
We do, and we've said it on the show a lot. The don't give up. Keep going, and that isn't always good advice. I mean, the taking a break and refreshing your mind, and yeah, that's equally important. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, think about it with work, right? If you've had, a bad day at work, or you've had a bad day with a family member, you have to listen to your body. I did it this week where I had a an uncomfortable weekend. And I kind of took the day off on Monday. Don't tell anybody. Um, because I listened to my body when and I
Mhm,
honored that, right? I didn't
mhm,
go hide and cry. I just honored myself, and I went for
mhm.
a walk, and I went for a drive. So if you're going to take a break, just do your break with proactive, meaning you're not saying, I'm going to take a break from dating and I'm going to shut the doors and I'm
Mhm.
not going to think about it.
I'm
Make
not gonna
sure you're
quit.
doing
Yeah.
something that is filling the cup while you're taking the break. Take a
Right.
break because you're listening to your intuition. Don't take a break because you're miserable, right?
Mhm.
There's a reason why people are miserable in dating, because the dating apps and all the chaos that they create, it's because they're trying too hard, they're running too fast. There's a
Mhm.
moderate way of doing things, right? I
Yeah.
even coach people on the hours and the time and the scheduling that they should actually look at apps, because if they're just on there all day all day all day, it speaks more to their fear than their desire to be in a relationship.
I agree.
We can chew on that one for a second.
Great advice. That's worthy of a whole other segment. April, thank you so much again for your time. I'll link to all of your information to your page where people could get in touch with you if they want to coach with you. You still do private coaching, right?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I start off everyone with a strategy session, and it feels fun because it feels like, let's get everything on the table. Let's give you a design. Let's give you a plan, but also let's give you a fresh mindset and outlook. And that to me is 90% of the battle.
So I'll be sure to have all those links in our show notes. So be sure to check that out. In April, I look forward to our next conversation on Second Act TV.
Thank you, Silka.